Hello, welcome to September 4th, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. This is an exercise that I do each and every morning, a little bit after waking up. It's now 4:48 a.m. I do this to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use this time to reflect on the last 24 hours to see how I did with the challenges and opportunities that I met along the way. I also think about the coming day, and I prepare for death. But before any of that, let's read a poem. And I've decided to mix things up just a little bit. I was going through my books yesterday, preparing the ones that I wanted to take with me to Japan. And I found several books of poetry that I'd collected that I hadn't read. These are, all these books are books that I hope to enjoy after we move to Japan. So I didn't realize I had some really good poetry books in there, including Robert Burns. I'm currently reading this book here, Stargazing, about the autobiography of a Scottish lighthouse keeper, and he references Robert Burns several times, I guess the poet of Scotland. So I found several poem books. I thought, well, why don't I mix it up? Instead of reading the same book every day, as I've been reading Keats for several months now. Why don't I mix it up? So I created a little poetry shelf. And I'll pick a different book every day and read a different poet every day. I haven't read through this yet. I spent the time before starting the camera reading the biography information and the back cover. So I know a little bit about Burns, but I need to study him more. He sounds like a very interesting person. So let's go through and we'll find the first poem here that is a suitable length to read past all this introductory information. Burns was also a songwriter, so there's songs here too. I think maybe I'll skip the songs. The first one is "Oh Love, Oh Once I Loved," tuned to a man. I am a man unmarried. Okay, let's see these more. A lot of songs. This is what I get for not reading about the book beforehand. I think these are all songs. Boy, it looks like it's, I think the word is dialectic, written in the Scottish language. Whenever I read in the Scottish form, if that's the right word, there's a word for it. Is it dialectic? I can hear my grandmother's voice. Let's just read this one right here. I'll need to, between today and tomorrow, or next time I read this book, I'll get a better handle on the book and figure out how to do this. Maybe I'll put a little check mark next to the ones that I read. This is called Elegy on the Death of Robert Rousseau. Isn't elegy like something you do in remembrance of someone? I think so. Now Robin lies in his last lair. He'll gabble rhyme. And see, usually what I would do is I would read the poem first before I start the camera, look up the vocabulary and any references that I don't know. Like I don't know who Robert Rousseau is, although I think I've heard that name before. I would look it up, figure out who it is, and know the context, but I don't. So here we go. Elegy on the Death of Robert Rousseau. Now Robin lies in his last lair. Robbie is Robin. Robert. Now Robin lies in his last lair. He'll gabble a rhyme, nor sing no more. Could poverty with hunger stare, no more shall fear him, nor anxious fear, nor cankert care, ere mair come near him. To tell the truth, they seldom fastened him, except the moment that they crushed him. For son, as chance or fate had hushed him, though ere saw short, then with a rhyme or song he lashed him, and thought it sport, though he was bred to kinto work, and counted was bath right and stark. Yet That was never Robin's mark to make a man, but tell him he was learned in Clark. You roasted him then. Now that's it. So I'm having a couple of thoughts and feelings as I read this. First of all, I see the need to study it ahead of time, to look for the vocabulary, the context, and then share that with you. Secondly, I need to have a go at it. It's, as you can plainly hear, it's no easy thing to read in the Scottish vernacular. That's the word. To read in the Scottish vernacular. Fourth, or third or fourth, maybe third and fourth, is further thought and some emotion. What would my Scottish grandmother, who came to America when she was a girl, but old enough to have her, she was 13 when she came, young woman, what would she think to hear me read like this? Or my Scottish ancestors, for that matter. And wow, it really feels good. Now, I know that Burns had a reputation in Edinburgh for being the poet of the masses, right? With his vernacular. I really like it, and it's really interesting because I got a little practice, because reading this book, the lighthouse keeper talks about the fellow lighthouse keepers who often spoke the same way, and he quotes them in that same language. So I had a little bit of practice. Plus, I had the practice of being my grandmother's son. Pardon me, and listening to her speak. I'll put a little pencil check mark next to that one. Although I don't know why I worry about the pencil. I'm horrid and notorious for marking my books up with pen and ink and markers. I'll leave that one there. Okay, let's carry on. First, last night and yesterday. Slept good. Last night it was Sunday night. It's Monday. It's Labor Day, a holiday. So I've got the day off. I'm hoping to do a couple of things today. My usual stuff in the morning. I'll go for a swim in the ocean, and then I'll take my wife out for a nice lunch somewhere. I'll yet to pick where I'm taking her, but I'll do that, and then send her a text to let her know where we're going. Yesterday, just a splendid day. I literally spent most of the day sitting right here reading. Really enjoyed it. Felt good. Reading, and I took naps. I read and I took naps. And I did a podcast. I helped Juan with his podcast, so jumped in and did that. I was a guest. Got interviewed, and we had a nice discussion. Plus, I assorted my books, like I said yesterday. Got those ready to go to Japan. Anything else? It was a good day. No particular things to worry about. I managed the day just fine. And I did a couple of posts, of the wabi-sabi life, which will be my theme as I go to Japan, back to Japan. Of course, I have, going alone is the foundation, and the Good Life Creed, and then wabi-sabi life will be the execution of said life in Japan, in the context of Japan. Follow my social media for more if you like. Let's do the good life for itself. My 8 objectives are to be always ready to die, ready for infirmity, and ready to be old. To make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize my true limits and my true opportunity, and to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, and to keep my balance. 34 principles are war, reason, homunculus, anchorhold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, principle of nature, the pirate ride, maturity, the social principle, principle of family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be borne, the feast of woeful, distraction, agency, and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility. The season of philosophy, did I say that one? Nothing is enough, and the principle of fun. I think I almost missed one there. I got them all, I think. Okay, I'm going to forgo the bit about the chapter of life and stop doing that in this exercise. So I'll just go from there to the readiness for death, which I've expanded. Maybe that's all I'll do. I'll simply say to be always ready to die in the creed, and then when I get to this part, I'll remind myself of the three. Although is that the way I should do it? Okay, let me try it out. If I tried it, so if I did that here, because I expanded to be always ready to die, the first objective to include what would be ostensibly like a sub-principles of the principles. But the sub-principles I don't say out loud. They're in the book, but I don't say them out loud. The sub-objective, and this is the only one that has a sub, would be be always ready to die, is to also be always ready to become infirm, and to be always ready to grow old. It sounds like a mouthful to say it during the creed recitation. But it also doesn't sound right here. Like I am, because the answer will always be yes, especially as I'm going into retirement. Maybe I'll leave them unsaid. No, but I should point them out. They probably belong better up there. I'll work on it. I think they belong better up front. Am I ready to die? My affairs are in order? Yes. My relationships are sound? Yes. And my life's work is complete? Yes. And with that, I'm done. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.